Hello, my name is Reverend Talitha Arnold, and I'm welcoming you from Taos, New Mexico, where the New Mexico Suicide Prevention Coalition is holding a workshop specifically focused on preventing teen suicide.
As a teacher, nobody was talking about mental health in schools, and even with my students, to see them struggling. So we had Breaking the Silence and do lessons for kids to make it okay, to give them a safe space to talk. And as Ruth Ann said, it really starts with talking.
During this time, this is when somebody is going to be feeling completely out of control. They won't be able to kind of focus on anything. They're having a loss of interest in life. So during this time, they're unable to cope with their negative feelings, their negative emotions, kind of losing control of their behaviors. You want to absolutely get help as soon as possible during this time. It's very critical that you reach out to 911, 988, or any of the mental health crisis lines that we have provided. Get immediate help, check into a hospital, just so that way you can get the help and support that you may need in order to move back into the other zones. People not treating mental illness like a physical illness. Your brain is an organ in your body just like any other part of your body, and it can get sick as well. The same way that you can break your leg, something could be wrong with your brain. So sometimes you need that extra help and support with your mental health.
Faith communities do have an opportunity to learn, and some faith traditions have. And so really across the board, whether it's Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Jewish, whatever, maybe not the whole faith tradition, but certainly significant numbers of people in a multitude of faith traditions understand mental illness now as just that. It's an illness. It's not a sin. As an illness, it's not a moral failing. It's an illness. It's not because you don't love somebody enough. Loving people is really important, but it can't cure schizophrenia because our brains are wired in a certain kind of way.
The first time I heard the word suicide was when I was 12 years old in 2014 and Robin Williams had passed away. At 12 years old, had no idea what that meant until 2 years later, I was 14 and one of my friends died by suicide. And not only that, there were a bunch of kids. There was someone in one of my older brother's classes. They talked about the lack of support in the community, the lack of things to do, and that the kids wanted somewhere to go at 2 a.m. for waffles. Just a little unrealistic, but one of the things is that kids feel in this community is they walk into a coffee shop and they like, oh, we're too young people, or think that we're gonna be loud and obnoxious, or they go into Walmart and people are like, oh, they're gonna steal something, and there's nothing to do. Like, you can go to the Youth and Family Center, but it's really at this point aimed at younger kids. And for those of you, now I'll get to it, that don't actually know what Common Grounds is, the main open area is gonna be a cafe, so kids can come in and get their coffee, get their little pastry and go and sit down. But we're also gonna be targeting things like activities. We're gonna have a music room, we're gonna have a gaming room with video games and board games. We're also gonna have an art room and a library. There's a classroom for people to come in, they can study together, or people can come in and teach classes to the kids. There's the at-risk community that maybe they're coming in for support, and that's part of where the partnership with Dream Tree comes in, is if they don't have housing, they don't know where to go for help, they don't know who to talk to, they can come into this building and there's gonna be a lot of people around their age, but then we can refer them to the Dream Tree Service Navigator that can help with a lot of that extra assistance. And otherwise, if you're just coming in to get coffee and go play the drums, you can do that too. We want it to be for everyone that just needs a place to go, whether it's that you're in need or you just want to go and hang out with friends.
Dealing with mental health issues. And it had to be like very kindergarten for me to understand, because, to diagnose, that takes a long time and they put you on medication, but it was more humiliating. And being in Las Vegas, I graduated from high school there, so some of my family worked there and friends, so it was even more humiliating that some of these people know me. And now my nickname that they call me is Lolo, and they said, oh, Lolo's in here, oh my goodness, and I was on suicide watch. So talking about that bottom, to be locked up in a mental institution on suicide watch where you can't even go use the restroom by yourself. And it was there that I just finally realized that, my personal story or my testimony was that, I knew I had a way out and I knew where I needed to go. But, what was going to be my motivation to get the help that I needed to You know, when you're laying on the ground on your back, there's only one way, one direction, you know, and I really felt at that time, you know, 2 trash bags of clothes to my name, couldn't hardly read or write, couldn't hold a job, you know, that, you know, I had nothing to lose, you know. But where do I get that desire to live? You know, my story is about hope. It's about opportunities to change one's life through whatever pathway they find. And I think the biggest thing is that the healing process of an individual, a family, and a community should be our priority.
Conferences like this are super helpful for me because it connects me with other people who have different resources, connects me with people who are in this same fight to help people get better and get more in touch with who they are, why they're here on this planet at this time. And hopefully, you know, together we're saving lives.
And listening to the speakers today was really just motivational, and we've made some great connections, and this is only the start of a wonderful thing that's going on here in Taos, and getting all the different entities together was really exciting and very heartwarming.